So DAWs and recording kit and stuff. I'm just going to really quickly rattle through this setup. I'm going to close Spotify so that it doesn't play adverts about all the stuff that I secretly want. So this is studio monitors. This is a MIDI keyboard, and this is an audio interface. There's a set of headphones and the leads to connect everything in. And this is a stage mic, but it's a condenser microphone, so it's kind of like a dual purposey sort of thing. The keyboard is for input in purely MIDI data. Does everyone know what MIDI? So MIDI is a convention that was set up in, I don't know, probably like the 70s, but I started using it in the 90s, and it's just like a grid system of how hard and where you're playing the notes. So if I want to play a cello, I can use this digital MIDI protocol to tell my computer that I want to play a C and I want to play it this hard and I want to play it in this octave at this time, and it sort of grids it in. So I mean, it makes sounds happen, and in a minute I'll load up a DAW and show you how it works. This takes audio signals, which are electrical signals, into this stage here. This little red knobbly thing there is a gain, and you could think of it like a tap. It's allowing more signal to be amplified into the system. So that's just a volume control. So it's letting audio in. There's a couple of buttons on there. This one says plus 48 volts, which is the voltage that's being sent to that microphone. And I can switch from line to mic. So I could plug an acoustic guitar in there instead of a microphone. And then I've got general monitor level. Still playing some Spotify tunes. I might turn them off. And then also I've got a headphone send level here, which is sending the mix to my headphones. And I could choose on this particular mixer between input and USB. So whatever's coming from my mix that I might have recorded, like the click track or the backing track, if I turn it in that direction, it's going to play more of that and less of what's coming in through my microphone. And if I go the other way, it's going to bounce it in the other direction. So this box is how I get all of my audio signals into my computer, and this keyboard is how I get all my MIDI signals into my computer. And these speakers are how I'm going to mix it, and these headphones are for when I want to record something using maybe a click that I don't want on my final recording. So by having my headphones on, the click won't bleed through the microphone. Whereas if I played it through my speakers, then it would do. The way that you might multi-track record is by recording lots of tracks on top of each other. And a bit like you were saying about a loop pedal, you record one thing and then you respond to that recording, you record the next thing, and you keep on sort of empathizing with it and building and layering up your tracks. That's how most producers who are working in bedroom environments or office environments work. They aren't bringing a whole band in to do the session and individually miking everybody up and going, go, and recording it, which is a lovely way of working. But they're going, right, I'm going to record a drum part using my MIDI keyboard. And then I'm going to record a bass line using my MIDI keyboard or my bass guitar. Then I'm going to record the vocal line on top of that, and you layer it, layer after layer. There's a few different, they're called DAWs, which is a very 80s nerdy name for a sequencer, but it's a digital audio workstation. It's just everyone knows it as Logic or Cubase or FL Studio or Reaper, like different, you know it by the platform name, but essentially it's a piece of software that allows you to layer up tracks inspired by audio recording approaches. So I'm going to use something called Luna, because it's free, in order to get Luna, I might just spin this round so you guys can see what's going on. I think it's more short leads from interfaces and stuff. So, would anyone like to download audio recording software, or do you already have stuff that you use? Because this might be a pointless exercise if...
I don't know.
Okay, so this is free. Luna is run by a company... Oh, sorry, I'm totally in the way. You use Logic already, don't you? Yeah. So Luna is a free piece of DAW software that's provided by UAD, which make audio interfaces, but it will work with just you don't have to have anything with it. You just have to avoid all the times it says, would you like to upgrade to Luna Pro? No, I don't want to do that. I just want Luna, the free version. So you get this window up here, and the first thing I'd do is go in here and go to settings, and it gives you a few settings across the top, which are what hardware am I using. I'm using this audio interface behind there, so I've selected that, and I'm also using that MIDI keyboard, so I've selected that, and then I can go to File, or actually I could just go to Create, give it a name. What's the track called? Would you let me know? Let me call it Would You Let Me Know? Would you let me know? And I've put it in, I've got my audio, my disc thing, what they call, hard disk. And I've set the location for it to be recorded there. Hit create, and it's going to make me a new session. So at the moment, I've got the main track, and I can create tracks here. I think the first thing I want to do is create a MIDI track. So I'm going to go make a MIDI instrument, and whilst I'm on that track, I can go to plugins, and I've got a load of MIDI sounds on a platform called Contact, which is like a bank of... Do it. Go. Oh, it's just loading up slowly. So I've got a load of different sounds, and you can get a free version of this, but I pay for... so I can have Alicia's keys. And these are just instrument sounds. So now it should, if I've got this set up right.
Like VST plugin.
Exactly. So if I make sure that my piano is linked by USB to my computer. I've told the computer in this piece of software that I want to link my keyboard as the trigger in here, and I want it to trigger my sounds in Native Instruments. And then I've made sure that my monitor mix is set and my monitor level's up. And that's getting me a sound. So now what I can do is just have a practice of playing those chords. So the chords were F, if you know who I am, getting down. Whatever it was. If you find me, could you let me know? Whatever it is. So I've got my piano linked up to this stuff. The next thing I might want to do is record that. So if I go in here, I record arm it, so I press the record button, and I hit record, it should start clicking. And I need to set my metronome so that it click during record and click during play. That seems pretty By the way, I've never used Luna before, so if I seem like no, I thought I'd pick something that I've never used before, so that it will be like a legit learning about this thing. So I've turned the metronome on, I've set it so it's recording whilst it's clicking, and that should just keep going. Find me, could you let me know? Do you feel like that's too fast or too slow? So we can slow down the BPM. So all I've done is I've gone to the BPM section and I've held my mouse over it and I've, if you find me, could you let me know? About there. So now I can listen to the downbeat of the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And that might be all I need to record because I could just loop that. So there's my chords appeared on my MIDI track. How do you zoom in and out? So I've set a loop to go around in circles. There you go. So that's that first little section. Okay, so there's a loop of that. So now you could add in another instrument. I'm going to go to Contact and double click it. It's going to load up another instrument, I think. Yeah, there we go. And this time I'm going to choose a drum kit. And I go for... It's not a drum kit. So I guess I need to make sure I've got that selected. So you could record a drum part and you could layer up stuff like that. So now I want to record my voice. And I've got a microphone. I don't want it to be too close to my speaker, otherwise it will feedback. And I suppose it would be easier if someone else recorded this. No, I don't.
You're the closest.
So I've got a vocal level here, and on this interface, you can it can be hard for you to see. Can you see the green lights going up into the orange lights? Yo, that shows me the level that's coming through on that interface, and I want it to be going up into the red, and I don't want my speakers to feedback. If I get the microphone too close to it, you'll get squeaky feedback. So I'm going to need to make a new track. So if I go to, where did tracks come from? File. There. So I go to tracks, create a new track, and this time I'm going to create an audio track. And I'm going to call that vocal. Click. There's my vocal track. I happen to be plugged into input 1. But if I had a guitar plugged in now, I could have vocal on one and then guitar on another and record them both at the same time. And that is the sound of me going in the computer and out again, so it's got that weird sound to it. Now if I make sure only my vocal track is armed. I've muted myself now so you don't get that echo. And hit record. If I found myself, could you bring me back to home? If I dun dun dun, da da dee da 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 dun, get a dun dun dun, get a dum bum 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 bum, Da 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 da. Get da da da. And I got my loop wrong there, but so now bring me back to home. If I da da da. Da 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 da. Get a da da da. Get a da bum 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 bum. Da 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 da. Get a da da da. There you go.